Hey guys, it's Tommeh, and welcome back to another Toontown video. So basically, as you guys know, I've been away from the game and I've been away from the community since early November, kind of late August, or not early November, early September and late August, which has been about 3.5 months or so. And when I got back, and I didn't even talk to many of my friends, like I didn't talk to Rocky or Anthony much at all during that period of time. But basically, when I came back, I asked my buddies, like, hey, has there been anything new added to the game? Has something redeeming actually been added to Toontown Rewritten? And as I kind of expected, they said no. So, at first, I was going into this video thinking that I was just basically going to trash TTR for not having any new content and really just kind of continuing the trend of not releasing anything and leaving the game incomplete. But before I did that, I decided to go to the website and just look at the newsreel just to see exactly what they had been doing. And as I looked at this, I kind of noticed immediately that a lot of them had to do with like the holidays. Like for example, there's a couple Halloween ones, and of course there's Toonfest, which I personally do not care about. I never really liked the Toonfest idea in the first place. I just think it was a big, massive waste of time, and it was way overhyped. But back to the point, yeah, they have like Thanksgiving stuff, something about the elections, sales, Toonfest, and this, which is basically just like telling you how to play the game. But the one thing that did catch my eye was this note right here. Now, I'd love to call this an update video, although I am making this video about like a little under a month after this was released, as this was released on November 21st, and it's currently December 10th. So I can't really do that, but what I do want to do is take a look at this and just kind of talk about it, because I kind of combed through this article, and there's just kind of a lot of questions that I have. So anyway, let's just start from the top. I'm sure a lot of you have read this already. If you haven't, then great, I can read it for you. So yeah, backstage, a peek at our plan posted by the TTR team. So this caught my eye because basically this looks to be, and it ended up being, indication of Toontown Rewritten actually doing something, instead of just kind of keeping up with like the holidays or doing stuff that have always been Toontown traditions. So, because what a lot of us have been looking for has been new content or just big updates to the game that will kind of give us, like, older players and also some of the newer players, just everyone in general, just something to look forward to, and something that really is able to set this game apart from TTO in a positive way without, like, throwing it off too much. Basically, what this article says is quite a lot. So first of all, they start out saying, like, it's been growing. Apparently they hit 1.1 million players, which I don't know if that's accounts or tunes, could be either. And so what they say here is, we were growing a little too big, a little too fast. A lot of the system structure and even our website have been around since alpha and are in desperate need of an overhaul to handle this growth. Now, I don't really know what they exactly mean about this. Because yes, like, this website and everything around here has been around since alpha, but I don't necessarily understand why they would need to overhaul it, because it looks to be stable. I mean, I haven't really ever seen the website as an issue. I think it's well designed. It looks nice. It like exudes the spirit of Toontown, and I've never really seen an issue with it. So the website, that I'm kind of confused as to what they mean about that. But the systems and structure, I mean, I assume they just mean like the game's engine, like trying to handle a higher flow of players coming to play the game. Although I've kind of been confused about that as well, just because the game's population like has dwindled a bit since a few years, like since maybe a year ago or so. Because like at its peak, as far as I know, Toontown Rewritten had maybe 3,500 players on, almost 4,000 players on at one time. And honestly, like, the crashing, like, while there used to be a ridiculous amount of crashing when the game first came out, I mean, it's really stopped, and I personally have not dealt with a lot of crashing, like, ever since kind of like the late alpha, early beta phase. So, I mean, I don't exactly see how that's necessary either, especially because like that number's dwindled down to around 2,500, maybe 3,000. So that I'm also skeptical about. Like, yes, there is a lot of growth, but at the same time, there are a lot of players who will eventually quit the game or get tired of it. Such as myself. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I was extremely busy, like, throughout the semester and throughout the football season this year. But honestly, like, I did, like, the less I played Toontown, the less I really was kind of interested in it, and the less I really wanted to play it, just because it was kind of the same old story over and over again. So, anyway, they say here, we've switched gears to stop attracting new players for now until those systems are ready. The lower population isn't a consequence, but an expected result. We know that with the amazing game that is Toontown, there will always be support and potential to grow. So, okay, I don't really know how they were attracting new players in the first place, but yeah, just this first part is just so incredibly vague. Like, the only real detail that they give is that they're going to overhaul the website. But other than this, they're just saying, like, we've switched gears, and I know this is kind of just the prologue of the whole article, but anyway, we'll move on, because there's quite a bit. So our objective, above all else, we're building Toontown to last. We're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work to make sure that our endgame goal isn't to end the game. So basically, this is kind of this is the first evidence that we've seen that there actually is going to be some sort of endgame event. Like, whether that's the chairman or whether that's Cognation, we don't really know yet, but what a lot of people have been looking for is kind of an endgame thing, like something that you can work towards, because obviously, like, unless you're a 6-year-old who doesn't understand, like, the premise of a video game, the cogs never will stop coming, and there isn't any, like, distinguishable, there isn't any amount of effort that you can put in to effectively stop the cogs. So, knowing that, a lot of people have been waiting kind of for an endgame goal, just because, like, you can get to 137 laugh, you can max your suits, you can beat all the cog bosses as much as you want, but there really isn't much closure other than maxing your tune. Like, once you hit the end of the tune tasks, you're really just kind of on your own, and there hasn't really been much of a storyline intact either. So, yeah, this is probably one of the most intriguing parts of the article. I just really, really wonder what they're trying to do. And in fact, with this endgame goal, I actually do have something to bring up in another video regarding this, because there is actually something that's probably going to be happening. So, anyway, moving on. It's hard to see from the outside, but internally we consider 2016 to be Toontown Rewritten's most successful year ever. Pages have more than doubled in size, was absolutely enormous compared to use. And okay, so in terms of, yeah, like, tangible success, like looking at how many players you have and like how your events have grown, I guess you can see that. And especially, yeah, like, it's hard to see from the outside. I guess you wouldn't know how many people are at the convention unless you knew how many there were at, like, the past convention, and if you were there, something like that. But either way, I guess I'll just take their word on that. So, share the same goal of providing Disney has a very valuable future. Proving to Disney. I never knew that that was the goal. I thought it was just that, like, we basically wanted to keep playing the game. But, oh well. Anyway, Millie... So this is kind of just jargon right here. They're basically saying, like, alright, we know what's going on. You guys don't know what's going on. You wouldn't know that we're growing so much. It's just that we do know because, like, we're the ones running the show. It's just that there's a lot of people out here, including myself, who are wondering, like, what is actually going to happen? So anyway, they kind of get into answering this question right here. Over the past month, we spent a lot of time with many meetings and figuring out what we need to do to move the game forward. We realized that we stumbled with the weight of Toonfest, and now it's time to put Toontown on a hardcore exercise plan to tone our muscles and lift some heavier weights. Wow. Okay, so my perception is that they're kind of admitting that they completely overhyped Toonfest and that they've been spending way too much time on that. Which, I'm kind of happy that they finally said that, because that's what's been on a lot of people's minds for a while. So, what they have here is a month-by-month update, like, plan that they posted. So they said October, focus was set up on repairing Toonfest along with our Halloween update and take time in November to figure out our internal organization. Alright, so that's just kind of going with tradition. Great deal of internal planning occurred. We've been working on, like, reworking everything, etc., etc. Okay, and they give a little bit of a hint of the new species election, which is nice. So moving on, releasing the Toon... Okay, so this is kind of just, like, yeah, closing the book on Toonfest, so that's nice. And also giving a little bit of a hint of the species election, that's also good to see. Any unreleased content will be saved for next year's celebration. Well, sorry for any disappointments on that front. I am not disappointed. Like I said, I don't give two shits about Toonfest. Moving on. December. Focus over the next few months will be set on major game patches to fix it. So this is basically saying that they're going to improve the engine and whatnot. So, okay. They basically say that with every update. January, we'll continue with our bug fixes and patches. We'll also be fixing up some early game content to make it more accessible to new players. We found that people who haven't played Toontown before have a really hard time getting the hang of it. We haven't forgotten about our long-term players who need a refresher, though, and we'll be seeing what we can do for you. Now, this I disagree with completely. Toontown is a very simple game. Toontown is such a simple game, and I don't know what they mean by having a really hard time getting the hang of it. If I'm able to get the hang of this game, like, when I was 7, I really don't think that a community with an average age of, like, 13 or 14 is really going to suffer in terms of not knowing how to play the game. Like, that's just kind of troubling for me to see, because that's not what they should be focusing on, in my opinion, because, like, the TTR community is built up of mostly players who played TTO, like myself, like a bunch of my friends, like a lot of people. I mean, there's, like I said just a minute ago, there's, like, the average age of the player base is like 13 or 14, and there's a reason for that, because, like, it's just going to keep getting older. Like, TTR, you're not going to be attracting as many, like, 8 or 9-year-olds as you are your old players from TTO. Like, I would focus on appeasing the people who have been playing this game for a long time, as in maybe ending some sort of endgame goal, or, like, a little bit more to do once you get up to a high level, instead of just focusing on, like, early game shit that people who haven't played the game, like, which is honestly, in my opinion, not a very large population in comparison to the people who've played this game for a long time. I mean, I don't have any, like, actual evidence or proof, but that's just my impression. And knowing that, I just don't think they need... I don't think this is a good move. I think that's just going to be a waste of time, because Toontown is the simplest MMO I've ever played in my life. And if you can't figure out Toontown, then yikes. Okay. And now, finally, 2017 onwards, going to spend a major effort to push Toontown out of beta in 2017. This means we'll be looking at complete polish, restoring the original game features, yes, and relaunching our brand in a way that shows we have a whole new outlook moving forward. This one sentence, in fact, no, these 5 words are the words that so many people have been waiting to hear for years. This is literally exactly what everyone who's cried out about not having doodles, not having parties, about BossBot HQ taking so fucking long to come out. This is what people have been wanting for so long. So despite everything up here, this means nothing in comparison to these 5 words to me. Because honestly, Toontown does not feel the same in a lot of regards, because updates have been slow to come out, and also because there haven't been any, like, releases of some of the old content, like doodles and parties. And I don't know if the racing, Grand Prix are still not out there. I still think the racing system is, like, extremely bugged, and there's just so much that needs to be done still, in terms of just bringing back the original game. Like, looking at that, I can understand if their purpose was to reach more people and to grow the game. Like, I get it if that was their purpose for the past few years, but honestly, I don't understand why they couldn't just add some of these new features when so many other servers have done it. I've literally watched my friends add like some of the old features of Toontown to their own servers within a day, within like a few hours. I just really don't see why it had to be over 3 years before any of this is actually going to come to fruition. And who knows, like, knowing the track record that TTR has with updating their game and also putting out like new material or restoring the old ones, I don't even know if I can trust this, because like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now they finally identify it in a slightly less vague way. And they also identify that ToonFest was taking up way too much effort. Like, I'm happy that they're finally looking at this. I just don't know if I can trust them, because we haven't seen any like significant updates on a frequent basis. Not to mention the game isn't even complete yet. So anyway, moving the game out of beta. Yeah, beta. A 3-year-long beta. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I don't get this game. The only justification I can have, which I completely understand, is that it's built up of a bunch of volunteers who have been doing a lot of this, like, through their own time and money. Trust me, I understand that. And, like, I may seem like an asshole for asking so much. It's just that, like, in 3 years, I just feel like some of this stuff could have been done in a little more timely manner. That's all I'm saying. But, like I said, the fact that these 5 words exist right here, that gives me a little bit of hope. So it says it may seem stale without any major updates, but we've witnessed that when we try to release new content without reworking ourselves, we get not quite the product we were hoping for, which is what happened with ToonFest. Words of wisdom. Okay, finally they say, Toontown will be changing a lot over the next few months, and we know that at times may be confused with what we're doing and why. Moving forward, we'll be doing the best to increase communication with you so you know what's going on. And this is basically just saying, like, stick with us, and we will update Toontown. So honestly, this article is kind of, in my opinion, the holy grail of what so many players have been looking for so long, because it almost denounces ToonFest as saying that they spent way too much time on it, and it really did not amount to much despite the hype, and also saying that they're going to restore some of the original game features. That's something that people have been looking for so long, and that we, like, in our minds, the TTR staff has really just been neglecting. Like, they haven't really even mentioned anything regarding any of that, and that's why a lot of us have just kind of gotten fed up. Like, honestly, I'm so happy to see this article. I don't agree with it fully, and I mean, like with a lot of things that TTR does, it's not totally satisfying, but it's something. And honestly, this just gives me a little bit of hope. I don't know if it'll give me enough hope to stay on Toontown or want to continue playing this game for another significant amount of time. I mean, shit, like, I first started playing this game, 12 years ago? But still, this is something. That's all I need to know to not completely go off and say, like, how lazy everything, all the updates have been. Because honestly, this is just a slight bit of, like, gratification. I don't really know how else to say it. But anyway, I didn't originally intend to spend the entire time looking at this article, but, I mean, like I said, it was posted almost a month ago. But nonetheless, I think it kind of had to be said. So, anyway, yeah, didn't mean for this video to get this long either, but if you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Leave your opinions in the comments section if you agree or disagree, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.